Okay, welcome back. So if you followed along in the previous lessons, what we did was we took a sentence question here, turned it into a three-part thesis, and then broke the three-part thesis down into our three-topic sentences. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to write an example body paragraph. I'm only going to do one, just so that you can see exactly what you need to have. Now, this is going to be much more applicable for an in-class essay. You can use this style for a formal out-of-class essay that you do at home, but just recognize that the final product here is really going to be more like a rough draft than anything else. So let's take this first one, that the cause of the collapse of the Western Roman Empire in the 5th century BCE were barbarian incursions. Sorry, CE, Common Era. So what we want to do is now we want to, that's our broad first topic sentence. So you kind of almost want to think of your body paragraphs like an inverted pyramid. So you start with your broadest statement first, and then it goes down and it gets more and more narrow until we reach our piece of evidence and we explain how that evidence proves our point. So the first thing we want to do is put this in context. So the way I'm going to do this is write a nice broad statement about how the barbarian incursions were the most direct response to the fall of the Roman Empire. So we're going to say the incursion of barbarian tribes. So what I did there was kind of turn it around so that I'm not just saying barbarian incursions again. That way it looks a little bit different for my reader. It's the most direct cause of the collapse. I'm not going to restate Western Roman Empire in the 5th century BCE because I don't think you need to. You already know what we're talking about because of the topic sentence. Because these groups deposed the existing power structures. All right, if that's what I'm going to say, now I need an example of it. So what I did was I just pulled up a website over here. You know, you would probably be using existing sources, but what I'm going to do, I found right here a really nice piece of evidence. So let's go back. Now, what you have to do is you have to lead into your evidence. You cannot just drop a quotation in between two complete sentences. It'll always be wrong. The way to make it right is just write, for example, for instance, would work just fine. I'm going to put a quotation mark in, pop it. Looks like I lost the I. And close it off there, right? So now it's, for example, in 476, blah, 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 blah. That would not be correct if I didn't have the for example in there. So it's really crucial that you do that. All right. Now I am going to put a site on here. It's from history.com. So I don't know if your teachers would require a citation, especially if it's an in-class essay, but for the sake of argument, here's what a real simple citation is going to look like. Okay. Now, here's the part that a lot of people go astray. I can't go from this straight into my concluding sentence. What I need to do is I need to explain how that proves my point, right? So how this proves my point is it's actually pretty clear. And a lot of times people get tripped up at this point because they think it's obvious, but it's not obvious to the person who is reading it unless you write it. So you have to do an explanation, right? So this incident, don't leave a naked this standing there because I would prefer to have an actual noun in this case. So this is an incident, it's an event, it's an occurrence. A naked this will tend to leave my reader questioning what I'm talking about. And remember, we want to write for clarity in all cases. Proves that the barbarians were responsible for the Western Empire because the Germanic leader, that name is pronounced Odovaker or Odovaker, you can do it either way, literally removed top Roman official, right? So that seems obvious because it's actually almost more or less what the evidence itself says. but you still need to explain it. You cannot just jump to the conclusion. Now, the conclusion, again, I'm going to keep it really simple. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my first sentence, I'm going to copy it, I'm going to paste it down here, and I'm just going to swap out my transition for a concluding transition. All right. Now you can mix and match some of the words in here, make it a little bit prettier if you want to mix up the vocabulary so that it's not identical. But again, we're kind of focusing right now on how to write a really clean essay. In later episodes, I'll talk about how we can make this a little bit prettier, how we can vary our language, and so on and so forth. So you kind of want to think of each body paragraph like a circle. We start here with what we're going to prove. At the end, we have to say that we proved it. And in the middle, that's filled with all the stuff where we actually have to do the proving. And do not forget, you need to make sure that when you write this, you are including this sentence. So if you have something in quotation marks, if you have a citation, your next sentence should not be the concluding sentence. You shouldn't have this transition up there. If you do, it's wrong. You need an explanation sentence in the middle, even if it seems obvious to you.